Alrighty, what is good, everybody? I'm not gonna say my name just because technically that's not my name anymore, and it's kind of the reason why I'm actually uploading this to this channel because I haven't yet made a new YouTube channel, and I'm technically going to be restarting my TikTok. And there's just something I want to talk about. I know it's like an opinion; everybody wants to give their opinions these days, but this one is just it's getting to me in a couple of different ways, just because it's of coming from a longtime fan, and we're going to be talking about professional wrestling today. Coming from a longtime fan and just seeing how the business has turned into, and like what is going on now, I feel the need to give my 2 cents. Will anybody care? No, but like I said, I just got to get it out there. So, specifically, it's going to be leading into a couple of different things. I do want to offer some trigger warnings as well. There will be some talk about some not so good stuff. Just kind of putting it out there, but that's not the main focus, which is going to be interesting because then I'm going to argue that it should be the main focus. But so specifically recently, Cody Rhodes had a segment on SmackDown, essentially giving up his chance at Roman Reigns at WrestleMania to The Rock. And I know a lot of people are upset, Cody's not going to be able to finish his story, at least the way that he wants to. But I think, again, coming from somebody who's used to believe wrestling was real when I was a little kid, and then stopped watching through the majority of the latter Cena era. I mean, that's the only way I can call it, the PG era, I should say, just because I didn't enjoy the storytelling anymore. And then trying to give, I would, I guess, tag in every now and then to just see a couple of pay-per-views, shows, but never really was fully invested until this past year, from WrestleMania of last year to WrestleMania of this year, which honestly, I don't know if I'll be watching WrestleMania this year. But so kind of just seeing how everything has turned out. I think a lot of people fail to see, in some senses, that sometimes, yes, you have a story and you want to see that story play out, but then real life gets in the way, as far as, Seth Rollins got injured, CM Punk got injured. And then we have, obviously, the accusations. I don't want to get sued here, okay? But accusations that are flying around about Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, Brock Lesnar. They're probably, by the time this video comes out, maybe there's more people involved. I'm not sure. Again, allegations. It kind of forced the company to pivot a little bit as far as how they wanted to tell the story that they had planned. Because I think a lot of people, and even insiders, had confirmed that it was supposed to be CM Punk versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania, and then Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So once you had everything happen with the injuries, and as well as the sorry, I just saw this weird rubber band stickiness here. Yeah, you had that, all the accusations and the injuries. You forced the company to pivot, and so not only did you have to change, since CM Punk was going to be out of the picture for now. I'm getting really distracted now. You've had The Rock that wanted to come back and main event WrestleMania. I think the original plan was, when Dwayne Johnson was appointed to the board of directors for TKO, I think everybody planned on Roman versus The Rock happening at WrestleMania next year, to kind of help promote the brand of the WWE moving over to Netflix next year. But again, when you have real life that's happening, you have to be forced to pivot. And I think a lot of people are seeing this, not necessarily like for the first time in real time, but just the extreme of it, like how bad it can get. Because especially if you follow the business for a very, very long time, whether you believed it was real or not, you saw that sometimes, like, they were going in a certain direction, somebody got injured, whether it be story wise and or real life wise, so they were forced to go in a different direction. You're like, why? That, like, it seemed like so weird. And that's kind of where we stand as far as that goes, that life gets in the way. What I'm personally getting annoyed with on a couple of different things is that there's some people I'm seeing online that are blaming Cody for this. Like, Cody had any decision whatsoever, and it's like, yeah, you know what, I really don't want to face Roman Reigns, so yeah, just give it to The Rock. I'll go fight Seth Rollins. That's my story. Like, he didn't have a choice, my guy. Like, literally, in this day and age, Cody had a lot of power in AEW, then kind of lost it. That's why he left. And so coming back to WWE, he was just, yes, a very popular guy, probably had a lot of sway, but nobody has as much sway as The Rock. So once The Rock says he wants something, The Rock gets it, unfortunately, whether it be, good for the story, bad for the story. But it's annoying because people act like it's Cody's fault, like he chose this, but then acknowledge that this is the way it was written. As far as like they know it's scripted, they don't believe it's real. As far as like, oh, this is real life. So it's like, okay, you know that there are people behind the curtain setting up the story, but yeah, you're blaming Cody for this decision. It boggles my mind. Some people's match, and I understand maybe some people are just upset. They get into it because, I mean, everybody watches WWE and any sort of form of media to get away from real life. So when you know that real life is affecting your fantasy, yeah, it's understandable. Some people are going to get a little bit annoyed. But that was one of the first things that just I saw that annoyed me. It's like, yeah, Cody just is rolling with the punches. It sucks. He's literally getting the CM Punk treatment, and it's kind of funny how CM Punk kind of predicted it in one of his promos. But so we have that. There's a couple of different problems that I have. The other big problem I have is that with Roman Reigns' promo on Friday, literally burying Seth Rollins, that title, and pretty much the whole Raw roster. It's kind of funny. A lot of people will debate this day and age as far as what's the top brand, Raw, SmackDown, who has the better stars, things like that. And like back in the day, that didn't used to be a thing, and that's why I was such a big fan of SmackDown back in the day, where Raw was the premier show, and SmackDown you just had the better wrestling talent. You had the wrestlers. I know I'll probably get flack from that from some people, but I just felt that there was more pure athletic talent on SmackDown than there was on Raw. Raw, you had the high profile superstars. SmackDown, you had just more the talent, more talented athletic people. So it's just funny now that people debate that who's better, Raw, SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown. And so with Roman Reigns literally burying Seth Rollins and the Raw brand as is, I don't know if that was, again, like a story choice, if that was him to catch more heat to lead up to Roman Reigns versus The Rock. But you just don't do that, my guy. Like, I haven't seen a bury like that since John Cena buried the Nexus. And it's annoying because, again, if he's just out there doing his thing, being told to do what he did, whatever. But if this was like his own promo to kind of, I guess, attack Seth Rollins, whether it be for the company or personally, it's just like, your contract, what people say about you. And yet you're not trying to promote the business still in the sense of like, hey, acknowledging that brand, that title, that wrestler is good. It's like, no, nobody can touch me. There are ways to say you are the greatest of all time. You are the best the company has to offer without burying other people like that. So that was just a little kind of sour point with me, just why Reigns did it. And again, if he was told to say it, or at least guided to say something like that, I get it. Wants to get more heat going into WrestleMania with The Rock, I get it. But I feel like right now, the WWE, and this is going to lead to my other problem, the WWE is trying so hard to distract people from the real life consequences of what's happening, that I think they're now like kind of stepping over each other and making really harsh, bad decisions. And so everybody, well, mostly everybody, I think it should have hit the mainstream by now, but everybody knows the accusations about, Vince McMahon, John Laurinaitis, Brock. They might have named more people since then. And they're horrible. They're alleged accusations. Again, I don't want to get sued, but they are horrible if they are true. And I think the WWE is so worried about it affecting their brand that they're trying to promote controversy, because everybody knows, like, again, let's say in a fairy tale world, Cody Rhodes goes and faces Roman Reigns as planned or whatever. I think, yes, people would be excited for it, of course, but there would be a lot more talk about the allegations. But because now people are so up in arms of like, oh my God, it's not Cody. Cody's not finishing his story. That is kind of taking over the narrative versus what's happening in real life with these allegations. Whether that be by design, whether it be by accident, I don't know. But I understand, again, coming as a content creator, people come to watch stuff, used to watch me for just to get away from their real life, rent, bills, family matters. I get it. But you have to acknowledge sometimes that real life will be there once your 2-hour, 3-hour wrestling show is over. And I guess, I don't know if it's just a lack of empathy or what, but it just seems like a lot of people are so quick to kind of like brush it under the table. Because apparently, I didn't see this on my feed, but there was Moist Critical saying that there was still a lot of people defending Vince McMahon. And it's like, I haven't defended that man in decades at this point. I think everybody knew what he was like, but nobody had the proof or the guts to come forward, I guess, until recently. And so now it's just all out. Like, man, this guy, like, he's really good at his character in WWE, a little too good. And I think a lot of people are realizing that, like, allegedly. So that's the other problem that I had. Just a lot of people seem to be more focusing on the Cody Roman Rock thing. I get it, but we gotta acknowledge what's happening in real life, and I just hope everything works out as far as the truth comes out. If whatever happened was true, the victims are taken care of. I mean, obviously those atrocities, you can't ever make up for that. I just hope justice is served if there is justice to be served. So now that we got the serious topic out of the way, now going back to silly wrestling stuff, I think the other kind of annoying part of it is now people trying to kind of work their way of what's going to be happening at WrestleMania and forward, because I believe, because again of the allegations, one last reference to it, it messed up everything at the Royal Rumble, and it messed up everything probably for the next 6 months. Because not only with the injuries, but as well as you had Brock Lesnar being pulled from the Rumble, and then Braun Strowman, I forget the wrestler's name, but one of those guys taking over for him kind of messed everything up, because it seemed like there was again, this is all speculation. Nobody knows unless you're one of the creative writers. It was supposed to be Brock Lesnar, Dominic Mysterio, and Gunther, a triple threat match for the Intercontinental Champion at WrestleMania. Seems like that's probably put into kind of limbo. Even watching the Rumble, I was kind of surprised they didn't do more with Jay and Jimmy. Sure, they had it at number one and number two, but yet there wasn't that much heat that was building. So I don't know if like Jimmy and Jay is going to be happening at WrestleMania. You have Bailey versus Io. That one's already been confirmed. So it just leads me to believe that you have probably what's her face, Rhea Ripley versus the man. See, it just goes to show you, it's, even though I've been watching it for a year, I'm still having really a hard time to remembering all these wrestlers' names, which is kind of funny. But now to get into the main topic, and then as far as like one of the quotes that Cody made during his promo at SmackDown, was it saying that he's coming for the title, he's just not coming for the title at WrestleMania. So leads you to believe that he's going to be facing Seth. I mean, obviously that's the only other champion he can go after, unless he goes after the NXT champion, which I doubt he will. So he'll be going after Seth, and it leads you to believe one of two things can happen. The less likely is that he loses to Seth, and it just causes more devastation online, because again, 2 years in a row, loses at the main event at WrestleMania. Technically, would it be 3 years? I can't remember if the year before he faced Roman, because he faced Seth, but I can't remember if he won or not. But yeah, he loses again at WrestleMania. He loses to Seth. The story's not finished. At that point, again, it's like another CM Punk situation where he just loses all momentum. Well, a lot of people actually care about Cody finishing the story, besides the hardcores. So more likely, Cody actually does finish the story, quote unquote, and wins the title at WrestleMania. And Seth goes away for a little bit to fully heal. So, but then that leads to the problem of, if he then does face Roman Reigns at SummerSlam, what have you, and he finishes the story with Roman, we have yet another double champion problem. And yeah, you could argue that out of everybody, it should be Cody, because he'll probably like fully defend it. But that was the whole point of having two separate champions. And even back in the day, you had the World Heavyweight title. I mean, when I still watched it on Raw, and then you had the WWE title on SmackDown. You had two individual champions having their own storylines. You were fine, So if you have another double champion, it makes no sense. And again, I think it's another short-sighted decision of WWE now rolling with the punches. And I give credit where credit is due. This last year, with Triple H actually taking over creative, the storytelling has been so much better. It's the best I've ever seen. Characters have been, made important, even in smaller, storylines. It made me actually want to watch all matches throughout the show. However, I think, giving the credit where it's due, we also saw Triple H find himself in the first type of controversies that he's had with storytelling, as far as real life debacles, injuries, and how to course correct. And I think right now we're seeing kind of the fumbles and bumbles of, again, very short-sighted decisions that will probably get retconned. I mean, a lot of this will probably get retconned. I mean, who knows? Maybe Cody just never goes after Roman. I mean, again, if we have another double champion problem, I don't see that good for the brand or for the company. So there was one last thing I wanted to bring up. I can't remember exactly what it was, but overall, like I said, I think it's really hard for me to debate if I'm going to watch WrestleMania or not, because there's still a lot of good matches, at least assuming I'm right on the matches that I want to watch, specifically Bayley. I never watched Bayley during her main era, but I knew of her, respected her, and the fact that she made a babyface turn makes me happy. Will the hug era come back? Doubtful, but she's like one of those very few divas. Not to say like diva talent isn't like, which fantastic, especially now. They are super athletic compared to they were in the past. Yeah, but give me 1 second, guys. Yeah, way more athletic, than me, obviously, and then they're just amazing. But there's very few divas that I admit that they're like trendsetters, as far as they help build the diva division. So like Lita, Trish Stratus, AJ Lee. There's a couple more that I just can't think of right now. There's very few women that I put up into that they created the women's division. I mean, I know I'm gonna get flack if I don't throw her in there. Charlotte Flair. I mean, Charlotte Flair. Not gonna lie, like she brought prestige to the division, but I also feel a lot of it went to the name. Again, not saying that she's not talented. She's talented, but I feel like if you had taken away the name, she wouldn't have been as impactful as some of other women with the name. If that makes sense, I don't know, but yeah, I definitely put Bayley up there as far as one of those people that made the women's division what it is and kept it healthy. So the fact that she's going to be able to get WrestleMania event to add to her prestige, because I think this is technically her first WrestleMania event. I think that's a big deal. Not sure. So, but yeah. So, but other than that, sorry, I kind of got thrown off my groove here as far as the recording goes, but I think that's the majority of what I had to say. A lot of this was also practice. Just started to commentate again, and we'll do a quick edit and upload. So we'll see how that goes. So, but yeah, what about you guys? What do you think? If you guys leave a comment down below, I doubt it. Like this channel is dead, and this is why I feel comfortable posting this on this channel, because I won't get a lot of traction. And if somebody does, I mean, it'll be cool to have a debate if you have a debate, but it's just interesting. We live in an interesting time of sports entertainment, and like I said, I don't know if I'll watch WrestleMania now. So, right, this has been me. I'm not gonna say the name. I'm not gonna say the new name either. So, but we'll catch you guys later, maybe. Bye.